So we're going to start this evening's presentation, and thank you to Matt Catanzari and Christy Fish and Eric Sable, who are all joining me in our presentation this evening. And we're going to begin just by talking a little bit about changes in guidance. As you may remember, I think it was announced on the day of our last board meeting on October 27th, 2 weeks ago, that we in Marin County were promoted to Tier 3, the orange tier that represents moderate risk. So that was good news for all of us in Marin. And along with that change in status, some of the protocols and guidance from the Marin County Health Department, Health and Human Services Department, changed as well. And so these are 3 documents that you can, of getting this one back together and out to families. The county has updated their decision tree for schools, and we're going to talk more about that one in just a moment. And then there's another document that just gives very specific scenarios and describes the actions, and it's really kind of a companion piece to the decision tree. And so, speaking of that decision tree, our district nurse, Megan O'Hare, sent a communication to families last Friday talking about the changes and talking about this new decision tree that's aligned with Tier 3. And here's what I have learned. So one of the main things that has happened is we've now identified kind of the top 3 key symptoms, COVID-19 symptoms that we need to watch out for. And those 3 symptoms are a cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, or the loss of taste or smell, or saying that things taste or smell different. And so if a student, staff, or household member has any one of those 3 key symptoms of COVID-19, then we move forward with our tester 10, and remembering that that's either being tested for COVID or having a 10-day isolation period until you're determined healthy and ready to come back. And then there are some other symptoms that are associated with COVID, but they are also associated with other illnesses like cold and flu. You know, we get fevers, we get chills and body aches and headaches and sore throats and nausea for a number of different reasons. And so while in prior guidance with our decision tree, if you had one of those symptoms, you stayed home, now it's if you have 2 of them. And then you go through that process again of the tester 10. If you only have 1 symptom, you stay home, but you're allowed to come back once you are fever-free for more than 24 hours without fever-reducing meds. And as was the case previously, if you do have exposure to a person who is positive COVID-19 and spend 15 minutes or more within 6 feet of that infected person, then you are required to stay home as well and quarantine for 14 days. And so those are the main changes to the tree, and this information has gone out to parents. It's available on our website. And thank you to Megan and Donna and all of our principals who've been working to make sure that everyone understands these systems and has them in place. And then this week, the Marin County Health and Human Services Department sent out new guidance for holiday travel and gatherings. As you know, we're coming up on Thanksgiving here, and then there's a number of holidays over the winter. And when we come into these special times, we like to spend time with the people that we care about. But there's, as you can imagine, some worrying about traveling and gathering and what that might bring. And so the recommendation from the county is to avoid non-essential travel. And if you spend time outside the Bay Area, to self-quarantine 14 days after your return. Don't travel if you're sick. And if you do travel, take steps to reduce risk and plan ahead. Think about where you're going. Is it an area where there's a lot of COVID, high rates of COVID cases? What about your travel companions or the people that you're visiting? Are they at a higher risk for serious illness? When you get to where you are going, will you be able to socially distance yourself from others? And if you need to travel, remembering, and I'm not going to go through these because I think we're fairly familiar with them, but remembering all these super, super important things that we do to keep ourselves safe and healthy. And kind of the tagline now is keep it safe, small, short, and stable. And then upon returning, if you or anyone in your household develops COVID-19 symptoms, please get tested for COVID-19. Let everyone else know that you were with, that you are having those symptoms, and stay home as much as possible for 14 days or until you have a negative test. And that is the update on guidance. Before I move forward with school reopening, are there any questions? All right. This slide, I imagine, is very familiar to you at this point. This is our phased return slide, and I think we all know that we are in phase 3. And happily, we are now in phase 3 for our TK through 6th grade students. Our TK through 5th grade have been in hybrid mode for 5 days. Our A's just had their 3rd day of in-person instruction, and our B's will have their 3rd day on Thursday. And then 6th grade is already well into their 2nd week of hybrid mode, or actually 3rd week. So lots to celebrate there. And Matt Catanzari, White Hill principal, is going to give us a little bit more information about White Hill's return.
Thank you, Julia, and thank you to the board for having me again. I'm just going to give an update on what's going on at White Hill and where we see ourselves going in the next couple of months. As you mentioned, Julia, 6th grade hybrid, we are in our 3rd week. We began October 10th with a virtual day on Monday, and then cohort A on campus Tuesday and Wednesday, cohort B on campus Thursday and Friday. 75% of our students or our families chose to participate in person, and 25% continued in our virtual learning academy. And our numbers actually worked out really to our benefit, where we were able to keep 1 cohort per teaching group in the virtual learning academy, so the live lessons were maximized as much as possible. The next thing that we are starting actually Thursday is our learning hubs for prioritized students, and we're going to be starting with 26 students. 6 or 7 teachers going to be on campus with those students in their classrooms with a maximum of 5 per class. And this is just a continuation of our current distance learning schedule with those students on campus. So they do have adult supervision, and it's a place for them to do their distance learning. A few weeks ago, after the town hall on October 22nd, we sent out a survey to our 7th and 8th grade families, asking how many of them would be interested in participating in a learning hub. And we're going to add about 95 students to the original 26 that are starting on Thursday. And so we'll have just around 120 students on campus beginning December 1st in learning hubs. All of our full-time teachers will have a learning hub in their classroom with around 5 students. And we are starting to create a waiting list, because we do want to keep that number right around 5, because the teachers are going to be Zooming in their classrooms, and the students that are in front of them will not necessarily be in their class at that time. So that creates a unique time and space for the teacher and for the student. So we want to keep that number down best we can. And then as we start looking into, and I mentioned this in the town hall for 7th and 8th grade, and I actually shared out a class change model schedule, we would be looking to start a hybrid schedule that coincides with the start of quarter 3. And I believe that's right around January 19th, right after Martin Luther King Day. That is when quarter 3 would begin. And that gives us some time when we get back in January to hold orientations for those students to make sure they understand those protocols. Our 6th grade students have done a great job so far. And I would expect the same for 7th and 8th. I think the 7th and 8th grade students, it's a little more unique because they're used to what school used to be like at White Hill, and it's going to be much different than what were accustomed to. So we will have to train and build some stamina there for our students. We have some other ideas for schedules. Could do an expanded learning hub, which is not ideal, or possibly an advisory model. And as some people already know, some other districts have done that. But we would prefer to do a class change model where our students are being taught by their teachers. And in order for that to happen, our teachers are going to be involved in that process. As was mentioned in the town hall, we believe in shared decision making. And we believe that's going to be best for our students and our teachers to keep everyone safe. So that's kind of where we're looking in the future.
And let's pause right there in case there's any additional questions for Matt. All right, thank you so much, Matt. And then, as has been the case from the start, our goal is to get our kids back on campus as much as possible. And we are taking steps towards achieving that goal and feeling really, really great about the steps that have been taken within the last few weeks in particular. And in a moment, you'll get to see some really wonderful images of what school is looking like these days. But while we are in phase 3, we are looking at expanding the time that students spend on campus. And so we may have a phase 3.1, and there may be a 3.2 or a 3.3. At the moment, it seems like the best and easiest and smartest way to expand our model is to extend the amount of time that students are on school on their A days or their B days. So extending their time into the afternoon. And kind of the pieces, the criteria that we're thinking about as we move forward on this path is, as Matt said, really getting our kids acclimated and our staff acclimated to COVID-19 protocols and what learning is looking like when you are masked and distanced and all of those things, and hand washing. And it does require stamina to wear a mask for 4 or 5 hours in a day, and to maintain those protocols. So getting used to those things, and then also operations adjustments. I know at least one of our sites, there was an adjustment in the timing of the break schedules based on how things were going. And so figuring out what's working and enhancing what needs to be enhanced. Certainly, it's important to recognize that while we are happily in the orange moderate tier right now, there is a possibility, particularly after the holidays, that tier might change, and that might make it more difficult to extend the amount of time on campus. So hoping that things stay in a really good place and we all follow all of those travel and gathering guidelines. And then, as we've talked about in the past, filling vacant positions, particularly classified positions. Even if we don't have a kind of a standard lunch period, obviously we're going to need breaks for kids and teachers, and they're going to need to be able to grab a snack and do those things. And when you have lots of kids doing that at the same time, you definitely need supervision, particularly during COVID times. And then we're working on substitute solutions. Dr. Salinas is going to be talking about those a little bit later this evening, but making sure that we can have teachers available when our teachers get sick or need to take a day. And then if we do adjust the length of the day, there are other adjustments that are going to need to take place within the schedule. We have our AMP, our art, music, and physical education courses in the afternoon. And so there might be some adjustments there. We also offer our virtual learning support, or dedicated time for virtual learners in the afternoon. And we want to make sure that we are able to continue to provide substantive support to our particularly full virtual learners. And with that, I believe Eric is going to do the calendar update.
Hello. Yes, my second calendar update. Appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about where we've been and where we're going. Principal Catanzari and Julia have already provided great context. Just looking back over the last 6 weeks has been incredible progress in Ross Valley School District with in-person learning. Let's remember that we're in week six of 5-day-a-week on-campus in-person instruction for our 3 SDC classes, 2 at Brookside, 1 at White Hill. Really tremendous, giving those students that level of daily support has been extraordinary. Then, of course, the White Hill 6th graders starting up 3 weeks ago, October 27th, for their hybrid model. The week previous, the week of October 19th, was the orientation week. And having been around education for a while now, I will say those are some of the more treasured memories I think I'll take with me into the future, to see those kids have their first steps on their new campus, with Principal Katanzarite, Assistant Principal Lubomirski, and the 6th grade teaching staff welcoming them so warmly and robustly. Really exciting. And then, of course, amazing that we are now in week 2 of TK through 5th grade hybrid. It's been extraordinary to be on our elementary school campuses last week and this week, to see that work in action, to see teachers teaching the kids in the room, zooming in the kids at home, and oftentimes partnering with neighbors right there on campus. For example, Ms. Horkey, Mr. Brandt in 5th grade Hidden Valley, synchronously working with their 2 cohorts in person and at home. Really amazing work. So anyway, this week, again, a slight pause for some deep breaths tomorrow, and an exciting launch to the Learning Hubs at White Hill on Thursday, as Cohort B comes back to action for the elementary schools. Next week will feel normal for us, as we're kind of at cruising altitude now with our hybrid schedule. The week of Thanksgiving, obviously we hope our community has a chance to be safe as they celebrate and rest and gather in ways that, of course, are different in these COVID days. But again, that will be a well-deserved break. I would say that every educator in Marin and across the country, worldwide, is working harder now than ever. So we're wishing all of our colleagues and community a restful Thanksgiving break. And then we're back at it the week after. And again, exciting to see more kids having the opportunity to access those learning hubs at White Hill starting that week of November 30th. And the last thing that I'm going to say before passing it back over is I just want to congratulate and extend our respect and appreciation to all school districts in Marin County. There's 19 of us. Some have been open since September, early October. Others, like San Rafael City Schools, just welcomed back its younger grades today for the first time to in-person learning. Other districts have plans to launch in-person learning in the upcoming months. Wherever they are in that process, we support you. We're all colleagues. These are all our children, and we are here to be your partner. And I wanted to ask if there are any questions on our calendar before we move on.
Eric, it's Mark. I just wanted to thank all the staff, all the classified workers, all the educators, teachers, administrators in making the last 2 weeks as successful as they've been. And thank you. It takes a lot. It takes a village.
And this is Eric, this is Wesley. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate your words of solidarity as an educator And as a person who recognizes that we as people who are trying to do the best for kids, we all celebrate that opening day, and it's cherished, and it's what we're all shooting for. And everyone is rolling out a little bit differently, but we all have to respect one another and as districts, and to celebrate the hard work that everybody is doing in unprecedented times. And thank you very much for your messaging. I appreciate it a great deal, Eric.
And this is Anne. Eric, let me just say that after my little advocacy for Kindness Day, to me, that's what kindness looks like every day. And I really enjoyed reading your words in the local newspaper. And I really enjoy hearing your unflaggingly optimistic and sincere gratitude to all of the people who work so hard, our parents, our staff, our teachers, our classified people, our management, literally everyone. I've never seen you not be kind. And that walking the walk, even if you're having a bad day or you're a little cranky about something or something mean has happened, you put yourself in the place of proactive modeling of kind and supportive collaboration. And I really appreciate it. And I thank you for that.
Well said, Wesley and Anne. Completely agree. And Mark, too.
I would just say Anne forgot to mention her thanks to our Board of Trustees. So I'm going to make sure to extend that thanks to you all as well, because you are also working extremely hard in extraordinary times. So I cede my time over to my next colleague. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. Much appreciated. And in the spirit of celebration, Principal Christy Fish is going to talk us through some really beautiful images of being back on campus.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Christy, principal at Hidden Valley School. I had wanted to open just thanking the district for all the hard work, supporting the employees to set up the students for safety and success. It has been a fabulous week back. Schools are better places when kids are present. It's been kind of lonely without them. So as you can see, it's joyous. I think there was a fear that school would be really regimented and it would kind of lose that personal touch. But throughout these photos, I think you'll notice that's just didn't happen. Kids are kids. Next slide. One thing that we were a little bit concerned about was arrival and dismissal, and making sure that students were coming to school with masks and their water bottles and maintaining distance so that everyone was safe. And it actually went much smoother than we've anticipated. Students, it's just a new normal. They come to school with their mask and their water bottles and their backpacks, and they are good to go. And there's markings. The maintenance staff did a great job of marking throughout the campus. So it's really clear for students how distanced they should be. I think it might have been Julia, I'm not sure, but somebody coined the term roomers for the students who are learning within the room, and Zoomers for the ones that are learning virtually. So here's a photo of some roomers, kids within the room that are learning. And there certainly was a sense of normalcy for, I think, all involved in the school community, teachers, students, and parents, having a return to in-person instruction. As you all know, humans are social animals, and these personal connections both sustain us and allow our brains to make learning connections in ways that are challenging in the virtual world. And here's more photos of our sweet little roomers. some of our Zoomers. So one thing that's nice when you are in a classroom and you're a roomer, your child sitting in the classroom, you can view on the screen the Zoomers. So there's still a sense of wholeness of your classroom community. And they're participating, right along with the students in the classroom.
And if I could just add here, like, this is the really fancy footwork part on the part of our teachers. This is the hard work, is trying to do this kind of juggling and balancing act of getting those roomers and Zoomers all engaged together, creating community while kind of toggling back and forth and attending to needs. And I know that's something, Christy, that you're witnessing on a daily basis. And I know that it's really hard. It's a challenge. It's something that we haven't had to do in the past. I think when we're all back in school and things are, back to kind of pre-COVID status, it's going to feel like you've taken a backpack off after hiking for hours and hours up a mountain, and that feeling of kind of flying, because it's a lot. But our teachers are really rising up to meet that challenge.
They really are. And I think that there's one more slide for the Zoomers oh, nope, there wasn't. So can you go back? Sorry. I did want to follow up on that. I thought there was another slide, but I wanted to share that the first day of teaching in the hybrid format, I asked a teacher, how did it go? And she said, to be honest, it was a lot harder than I thought. And then I said, that's okay. This is the first day. And then I checked in with her again the second day and I said, how did it go? And she said, it went better than I thought. And each day has gotten better. Today was only the fifth day of something brand new. And so I reminded the teachers to give themselves the same grace and kindness that they offer to students when they're learning something new. And it will take time, but as Julia said, we're rising to the occasion. And the previous photos were of classroom shots, and then we also are utilizing outdoor learning spaces, which were very lovely last week with the warm weather. However, this week with the cooler weather and rain forecasted in the future, they'll be less likely to be utilized. Although it's a safe space being outdoors, there are some difficulties with outside learning spaces. Mostly it's ambient noise or weather, wind, just that kind of difficulty. But when it is a nice day, it's wonderful to be able to learn outside. And again, here are some shots of recess and playtime. And this was another time that the staff and I think some parents and maybe even students were concerned about in terms of, is it really going to be any fun when we can only play with these small cohorts and we have, the play structures aren't available. But kids are kids, and I think for the most part, you can't stop them from playing. And on the first day when we had recess at Hidden Valley, I overheard a conversation, which was so cute. A girl was chasing a boy and she said, I'm going to chase you. I'm going to get you. And he said, yeah, COVID, but you can't tag me. So he knew she couldn't touch him. So he wasn't worried about it. The health and safety protocols are really working well. I think the district did a fabulous job of providing information in advance for families to know what to expect. And then also providing communication tools across the campuses of different ways to communicate what our expectations are. And so you see some of those here with I forgot what they're called, I think A-frame whiteboards, the stickers on the sidewalks, even chalk to kind of make it fun. And then just real visible markings on tables where students should sit. Students are washing their hands quite frequently, at least 4 times a day, when they enter the classroom, when they leave to recess, when they come back from recess, and then before they leave to go home. So these are different hand washing stations that you'll see. And the one of the hand with the open palm, if you can't read that sticker, it says, please wash your hands. And by the end of the day, that should be washed off. So he knows he thoroughly washed his hands throughout the day. Another element of safety is that students have individual supplies so that there are no shared materials in the classroom. Each child has their own designated Chromebook or box of materials to use, such as markers and Play-Doh and counting blocks. And more than I can say how great it is to have kids back. Kids can tell you much better than I. So please enjoy the voices of our Ross Valley students.
I'm really happy. Okay, I feel good because I get to see all my friends, and it's really fun and happy to see all my friends. To see all my friends. Well, I just kind of it's really good, being able to do your work in person.
Yeah.
It's fun. A lot of things have changed. Yeah. We have to wash our hands a lot. Yeah. And we switch play structures a lot. Every day, I guess. That's basically it. But we have to wear masks. Yeah. Our tests are posted on Zoom. Yeah. But it's pretty fun, seeing your friends. Yeah, it's fun socializing. Yeah. Just to be too close.
It feels it brings back memories, and it's just weird to be back. And now it's kind of weird to not have all the other classmates from before and only have a class of 15 people.
Yeah, it feels really happy, and I feel normal, except I don't have them. I have my friends with me, but I still kind of want to be with my other friends in group B and C. But it kind of feels kind of nervous to not get sick, but other than that, I feel really happy, and it's really safe, and I don't feel like I'm going to get coronavirus, so I feel really happy.
Well, I like how it's really safe. There's a lot of rules that make it safer. It's not just regular school, so it makes me feel more comfortable coming to school in person. You get a break, which is nice. You don't just have class full time for 3 hours or 2 hours.
It feels good because I really miss my friends, even though this type of time I still miss them, and I can still talk to them, have friends and play with them, but just I can't really we can't really do a lot of things because this virus going around. And I still are fun, even though my friends can't play with me. I'm still fun being here at school because it's really fun and it entertains me. Because after I leave school, I really want to go back into school because there's nothing I can do in my house, so why not just go back to school? Well, I think you get to see more people, and you get to see other kids, which meaning new kindergartners. And a sad thing is the playground's closed, but I also the off the field.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I miss school so much, and I kept on asking my mom if I could come back when we come back. for me. When we were just online, it was a lot harder to really get interested in what we were doing. So I was struggling a little bit to fully focus when we weren't in person. And my favorite part about being in person is getting to actually talk to my classmates and my teacher. I actually get to meet them in person for once, and I feel like I get a lot more into what I'm doing when I'm in class with my friends and new friends and classmates and my teacher, because I can actually ask and talk to people.
And there you have it, out of the mouth of babes. Are there any questions?
No, but that is so
that
nice
was
to
terrific.
see.
That was so great, Christy. Thank you. It was joyful.
Yeah.
If there's any question into what you do and why you do it, that is the answer. Great job. I love it.
Loved every minute.
Wonderful. All righty. Well, I, again, just want to extend my thanks to the district as a whole and you as the Board of Trustees that, you know, as community members, we put our trust in you for our children, and thank you for all you're doing, and to the Ross Valley community for entrusting us with their children.
Hey, Christy, it's Wesley. I know it takes time to put stuff like that together, and I can't tell you how much it's appreciated and how much it helps everybody to see stuff like that. So thanks for the hard work. You're welcome, but I want to mention that this was not my project alone. It was a collaboration of all the schools. So those was representatives of students throughout the district. All right, thank you. Let's pass it back to my next colleague. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Christy Fish. Christy, are you wearing your orange pants?
Wow. Those are 10 years
just
old.
Just say yes, yes, I am.
Yes, I am. I am.
That's nice. That's awesome. I need to get you some orange PJs so that when you're Zooming, you can actually still express the spirit that you always express in person in your PJs. Thank you, Christy.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And that is really it for our presentation this evening. We really wanted to highlight and give highlight the return and also give you all a sense of what it feels like to be there. I know that, you know, having spent time on all of our campuses now with kids on campus, you just walk a little bit higher off the ground and the sun shines a little brighter, and it just feels really, really good. And absolutely, it is due to the tremendous Herculean efforts on the part of all of our staff. And I really want to thank our principals who took so much time to grab all of these photos and put the video together. Really, really beautiful work.
And I also want to mention, like, while we're here thinking seemingly ourselves, I want to thank the parents, because it is hard. It is hard not to have school, and it's hard to participate in school, and it's hard to be scared for your kids. It's hard to be worried about your kids, and it's hard to trust that a bunch of people are going to look after your kids like you want to look after your kids. And we totally get that. So I just want to mention that when we are thanking people, we're thanking them on everyone's behalf, because we really do care about these kids. Not as much as you care about your own, probably. That would be hyperbolic. I mean, we like to think we do, but nobody loves anybody as much as they love their own kids. But honestly, we try to come as close as we possibly can. So when we say thank you to the staff and thank you to the teachers, what we're really also saying is, parents, honest to gosh, this is people working their literal guts out to try to make school happen for children in a way that doesn't make this whole terrible situation worse and only makes it as good as we can possibly make it. So thank you to parents for trusting us. And when you don't trust us, for asking kindly, hey, what's up with this? And please believe that these people, these humans who are working so hard are doing it for exactly one reason. And that is what we just saw. Kids who say, oh my God, I'm so glad to be back. So anyway, so thank you to the parents as well.
And the students.
Yep. Yep. Okie doke. Colleagues, anything else? No? That was the funnest of all the things we've seen for weeks.
It was a window into Ross Valley again. We need more.
Yes. Yes. Alrighty, and that will move us to our final presentation. And